Woo boy, I'm telling you, everyone having to sit at home right now is producing some of the most interesting content of my life. I might actually go 6 videos today. That will be the most I've ever done in a day on this channel. Now, maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I've got nothing better to do. So if you all keep watching and interacting by, smashing that like button and leaving your comments, I'll just keep grinding. I mean, I've got nothing else going on. So over the weekend, Chuck Wendig, many of you know him for a variety of projects, really. But most of all, for being an absolute moron online, started freaking out about the Internet Archive opening up a digital library so people could actually, read while they're stuck at home. They're calling a 14-day ebook rental piracy. And Wendig's books were only available to the disabled. Now, it's been a hilarious juxtaposition because you can look at just 2 weeks ago, Wanderer's author Chuck Wendig says everything going on right now offers a chance at community building. Wow. Quote, I feel what's additionally helpful to see and that one thing Wanderer's works arduous to place in the market is if you simply additionally see loads of community building and love and caring. Wendig tells us, quote, in a zombie motion picture, we're usually made to grasp that the zombies are themselves some sort of an environmental downside and the true monster is different individuals. But in actuality, we see time and time again that individuals are on the market to assist one another. That and hoard bathroom paper, apparently. Are individuals pooping quite a bit in this disaster? Possibly they are. Chuck Wendig wants everyone to support each other. In fact, this is another take that Chuck Wendig had. Quote, it sucks that people are using stuff is a heck of a take. Quote, it's terrible kids are using all these schools and people are driving on roads. It's such a capitalism-driven, money-making point of view. Whose sole concern is it? Who's getting paid rather than who's being served? Oh, how very socialist of you, Chuck Wendig. It would be interesting if you completely lost your mind and was ridiculed by everybody on the internet. So, NPR puts out an article. Library books may be a no-go these days because libraries are closed, but the nonprofit Internet Archive is keeping digital bookshelves stocked through the end of everything going on. In fact, I should actually bring up the article, right? So we know exactly what's going on. Now, you see, as of yesterday, authors, publishers condemn the National Emergency Library as piracy. Last week, when the Internet Archive opened its National Emergency Library, expanding access to more than 1 million digitized works, the group explained the move as a goodwill gesture in time of uncertainty. With so many brick-and-mortar libraries forced to close their doors, in other words, the group was working up to opening up its lending program. Now, instead of its usual policy of just 1 digital copy per reader for a 14-day period, many frustrated readers could borrow copies of the same book at the same time and could do so sooner through the end of June or the end of everything going on, whichever came up first. One major issue several media outlets, including NPR, failed to mention is covering this decision. Many writers and publishers say the website, even before the creation of the National Emergency Library, had been sharing full copies of their books without their permission. And over the weekend, dozens of prominent authors, from Colson Whitehead to Neil Gaiman and Alexander Chee and Chuck Wendig, made it clear they were upset that the Internet Archive's model, and now doubly so now with the expansion of lending services and its timing. Quote, with mean writing incomes of only $20,000 a year prior to everything going on, authors and others are struggling all the more. From canceled book tours, the loss of freelance work, incoupling supplementing jobs, and speaking engagements. The Authors Guild, a professional group that provides legal assistance to writers, said in a statement on Friday, quote, and they now supposed to swallow this new pill, which robs them of their rights to introduce their books to digital formats as many hundreds mid-list authors do when their books go out of print. All this but guarantees that the author incomes and publisher revenues will decline even further. All this outrage, by the way, is built on the false assumption that people who would sail the high seas are your customers. There are actually very few people that go out and, let's say, grab a game without paying for it instead of just paying for it. Most people take this stuff because they can't afford it and they're not an actual customer in the first place, or they never intended to buy it anyway. You're not losing a sale by whining about NPR archiving a few of your books. But that didn't stop a bunch of blue check marks from losing their mind. Chuck Wendig telling the internet mom, "Dear NPR, hey, this is a pirate website. It's not legit. What are you doing? They have my books on there for free," which is privacy. Libraries often offer ebooks, so please use those. Thanks. What's the difference? And you can see, you can tell a lot from somebody's position based on who's defending them. And the people that are defending this almost exclusively have pronouns in their bio or blue check marks. Brianna Wu, of all people. I have to say something. A lot of you are going after my friend, Chuck Wendig, over this. It's the most reasonable thing in the entire world for a writer to want to get paid for their work. And he is completely correct. Annie Billette, please take this down. This site is stealing living authors' work. Babu Prit, take this piece down. It's piracy. Alyssa Day, this is a pirate site. Please remove this tweet. All those of us who tried to feed our families by writing will now have to take, quote, donate to the NPR out of our budgets. Well, I thought you didn't have any extra money. So you still have money to donate to NPR? What are these people thinking? I'm not kidding. Look at Anne Belay. Pronouns. Oh, this one isn't a pronoun. Oh, yep, pronouns. Pronoun. I can't even with NPR. Guess what? Copyright is still a thing. Please don't pirate our books, especially right now. Pronouns. Seconded, at least 14 of my books are on that site without permission, and they're all available as ebooks for sale from real libraries. Okay, so instead of looking and whining about this, and by the way, here's something that these morons completely don't understand. You understand that whining about this is only going to bring more press to it. More people are going to get your books on these websites because now they know you can. They can, and now they know it makes you mad. Here's a user. Chuck's books on archive.org are only accessible using an encryption key provided by the Library of Congress to people who are blind or disabled. F this guy. Instant regret. I searched a couple of authors in this thread complaining about their books being pirated by the Internet Archive, and all of them were available only in DAISY format to borrow and not keep, like a library. One last thing, there's also an exception in copyright law which allows libraries to freely create and distribute accessible copies of copyrighted literary works for disabled people. Isn't Internet Archive working with libraries on Open Library Project through implementing controlled lending of in-copyright materials? I haven't heard of them pirating. The Internet Archive is not a pirate website. You cannot download modern books. It's a digital library. All authors who still are not in public domain who are available through libraries have gotten their money for those books. I can borrow books from Internet Archives, but I cannot download them. Only books prior to 1923 can be downloaded. You are mad at a library. Heck, at least be mad at the Pirate Bay if you are going to be upset by torrenting. This is hilarious backlash. Chuck Wendig getting roasted here. This is the most informed take I've ever seen. The Internet Archive does not harm authors and is only extending lending periods because publishers are notorious for hosing libraries over, and they want to make sure people have reading material during lockdown. Chuck Wendig, capitalism is bad unless it's my books. He has 12 total downloads on the Internet Archive library. 12. 12, 7, and 5. The irony of this is so delicious. Capitalism bad unless it's costing me, unless I'm benefiting from it. I mean, this is absolute ridiculousness. Just getting roasted. And ultimately, you know, what is, again, this is all ego driven by absolute narcissists who don't understand how digital distribution works. Look, Chuck, you are free to write and distribute whatever you want during this period. Sell it on Indiegogo or sell it on GoFundMe or sell it on whatever thing authors use to make money. You're welcome to start a Patreon. You're welcome to you're welcome to sell digital appearances, right? You could sell an e-ticket to a one-on-one. You could sell one-on-one Skype groups. The idea that these authors don't have unlimited earning potential and a more captive audience than ever is absurd. They are trying to use the thinly veiled but copyright to attack a library for lending books in a time when more people in this entire world need to read more books. That's their position. Capitalism bad, except for me. Down with libraries. And Brianna Wu agrees with them. Congratulations, Chuck Wendig. You look like an absolute moron, and the backlash was delicious.